Monkey Man just landed in theaters. Is it any good? I've got some thoughts. Let's talk about it. Hello, I'm Diamond, aka Lady Leo, and I am a lover of all things nail polish, movies, TV shows, music, all sorts of things. My hope is that you kind of ruining my own intro. My hope is that you find something that you like, come to my channel, hit the subscribe button because I would love to have you. So, Monkey Man just dropped in theaters, and oh boy, I loved this film so much that I just wanted to talk about it briefly. So Monkey Man is the directorial debut from Dev Patel. He also co-wrote the screenplay and he is starring in it as the lead. So he's wearing a lot of hats for this movie, but I think he does a pretty good job all the way around. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, so I'm not going to dive too much into the plot. But what I will say is that I think this movie has so many different elements. It's juggling a couple of, maybe not different stories, but like different elements, and it does a really good job weaving them together. You know, we don't even get to know the name of our main character, Dev Patel. We just kind of know him as boy or kid, or he tells a guy his name is Bobby, but we don't actually know what his name is. And one of the things that I like is that, like, as we go through the movie, we get to see like more pieces of his past in a flashback, so we can kind of understand that element of his life and like where his vengeance and his rage comes from. I like that we don't get that all at once. It would have been very easy to like show us the entirety of that like at the very beginning of the movie, but instead we get it in pieces and we finally get to see it like kind of towards the third act of the film, or right before the third act of the film starts. So I really like that format of it. I think the cinematography in this movie is just really great. It's really stylized too, so does have a very kind of distinct style. It does remind me of John Wick, but it's a little bit different because there's not a, well, I mean, I guess there are guns in here, but I think John Wick would have like full-on clean fights. And these fights aren't messy. I just think that, you know, they use a little bit of shaky cam sometimes here and there. I don't mind shaky cam. It depends on how it's used. It depends on how often it's used. I think they use it in a way that's really good in this film, and it really fits like the narrative. So I don't mind it, and they do not use it all the time. So that's just my 2 cents. There is some shaky cam in here, but again, I don't think they use it. I don't think they overuse it, and I didn't mind it. And then there's some fights that are completely clean. Man, when we get into the final act, whew, we go hard with the action. You know what I never thought I wanted? Dev Patel as an action star. I mean, to be fair, I don't think I've seen a movie, at least from me, I haven't watched a movie with Dev Patel in it for a while. Obviously, he's been a working actor, so he's been in things. I just haven't seen him in anything in a while. I think the last time I saw Dev Patel in a movie was that film that we pretend like doesn't exist. You know what I mean? That Avatar film. He was the best part of that movie. But anyway, so I think the story, it's so simple, you know, it's somebody seeking vengeance because a family member was killed. That's not me giving away who. And that's a very simple story, but it weaves through a more complicated construct, giving you some commentaries on like the rich and the poor and like redemption and what it means to deal with the pain and the grief of being like a survivor. And those are really interesting concepts, and I really like how the story weaves them in together. I was engaged the whole time. I was so in the story. I really was invested in our main character. I also love that he's not a superhero, you know what I mean? Like sometimes when you have a protagonist like this and it's an action movie, sometimes I think there's a tendency to make them like superhuman because you want the protagonist to survive. I get it. But there's several moments where you realize that he's not superhuman, which I love because I feel like that's realistic. There's this moment like, I don't know, midway, it doesn't matter where it is in the movie, but the point is like he's running away from some bad guys and he's trying to decide between going down a set of stairs because he's like at the top of the building or going out the window. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go down the stairs. And then he takes a run and jump. He's like, okay, let me go out the window. And the window doesn't break. We all kind of laughed at that, but I found it was funny, but it's super realistic. Like, you know, and he just is like, I'm gonna go down the stairs now. Or there's another time where like there's a car crash and he does not immediately get up in time to not be apprehended by the police. Like, he's still trying to to reorient himself. So things like that. Our protagonist is not a superhero, but he is very strong. We do have like a training montage, which is kind of one of my favorite training montages because it's very specific culturally, but it's also just really well done. It was really fun. I was like, yes, yes. And he's just punching a bag full of rice, but it's so engaging. I highly recommend checking out this movie. I thought this movie was really, really fantastic and a great directorial debut for Dev Patel. And Jordan Peele's company helped produce this because I think what I heard is that it was originally going to be on Netflix and then Netflix didn't want to pick it up. Don't know why, but Jordan Peele was like, no, this deserves a theatrical release, which he is right. You should definitely see this in the theaters. It deserves being seen on the big screen, so I'm happy about that. And I look forward to seeing what Dev Patel will do in the future. You know, I would love to see him direct more things going forward because I think he does a really good job. And I imagine that's a really challenging thing to be the director and you're also starring in the movie too. But like I said, I think he does a really good job. So I highly recommend checking out this movie. I had a great time with it. I think we're kicking off the spring, summer movie season, which is my favorite time of year because there's usually a ton of movies that come out spring and the summer. They're not all good, but that's okay. They're not all going to be great. But I'm so excited. So we've got Civil War coming up next week, and then we've got Spy Family, if you're into anime, coming up after that, which I am. I am so excited. I'm going to go be seeing Spy Family. So I will be checking out both of those, so look out for my reviews. Next thing up on my docket is I'm probably going to do some nail videos next week. Something that I really wanted to do for March that I didn't get a chance to is to talk about movie musicals. So I'm probably going to be trying to work some of those in too. We'll see. I'm always prone to change my mind, but those are kind of like what's on my mind, what's on the docket coming up next. Well, let me know in the comments below if you had a chance to see this movie. If so, what did you think about it? That's been my time, and I thank you so much for watching. Catch you later. Bye.